Let's bring in Harold Reynolds, MLB Network analyst, former Gold Glove winner. You can see HR on MLB's MLB Tonight, which is airing live before and after the League Championship Series and the World Series games. HR, how much trouble are the Dodgers in?
I still think they got a shot. Today is obviously huge. You don't go down 3-0, but look, I think it's Urias and Dustin May today, and then finish it off with whoever's going to close it out. And I watched Kershaw throw a bullpen yesterday, and I would be shocked if he's not throwing game 4. So I still think they're in this thing. And we're looking at a 6 or 7 game series. If they lose today, we may be looking at a 4-game series. But that's my take on it.
Explain getting back spasms. Like, how does that happen right before you're ready to start?
I never really was a guy that got those kind of things. I guess I was too skinny. I don't know. It could be how you sleep. It could be how you wake up and head to the ballpark. A number of things. But clearly, it was disappointing to see him not in that game. I'm sure he was disappointed as well.
But you also
needed it.
Yeah, it's like when pitchers get blisters. I liken it to a guitar player wants calluses to be able to play. I would assume pitchers get calluses on their fingers. Therefore, you don't get blisters.
Yeah, it's talking to Al Leiter, who had a ton of blisters throughout his career. And it said it's a lot of it, the moisture. With the weather changing in baseball and being in outdoor arena facilities, it depends. When it's hot, it'd be a little bit more moist. That's how you end up getting blisters. And you think it wouldn't happen because they throw and play catch so much, they'd build up that callus. But he said, really, it depends on the weather and just the change of the environment.
I liken the Atlanta Braves to a better version of the San Diego Padres. I think they're just young. They probably don't know better. You got a great, leader, MVP, and Freddie Freeman. I got an underrated pitching staff. Their pitching is better than San Diego's. But that hitting, those young guys, the less they think, it feels like the better they are. They just go, yeah, so what? You're the Dodgers? We don't care. They're just raking up there. How do you explain this confidence level with the Braves?
They just took off. The last, I'd say week, 2 weeks now, we've been watching them. Freddie Freeman clearly in the middle of that lineup, but they're deep. And I think the biggest thing I see with the Braves is that they catch the baseball. Now, I know last night Albies had a couple errors, but they're fundamentally sound, and they make you have to beat them. And then the young pitching came forward. But I do think that they're going to miss Duvall because he was a big part of this great run they've been on. So now I know they have Pache in the middle, and he's playing center field, but that's not the same. So we'll see if this continues to be extended out, if that ends up showing itself or not.
If the Dodgers don't get to the World Series.
Big disappointment. I mean, bust, really. You went out to get everything in Mookie Betts you got. That was the missing ingredient, so to speak. It reminds me a lot of when Ricky Henderson went to the A's. It was that one piece they were missing. And the other thing that's a little bit of an advantage for the Dodgers this year, and the disappointment with Kershaw not throwing and maybe not being able to get into this series, was the shortened season allowed Clayton Kershaw to really come in not taxed for the first time into the postseason. Mm-hmm. So you knew you were going to see like a guy mid-season form that could really dominate. And so those two things are, if they don't win this whole thing, the World Series, they'll look back at those are the two biggest disappointments.
Yeah, and it feels like Dave Roberts is managing for his job. Whether we like
you know what, I kind of feel that way too.
Right.
You can only go so many times to the well and not come back with the trophy. And I know a lot of it's not necessarily Dave's fault because this is a cohesive game plan they have. Here's how we scripted games out and all that. But he is the figurehead, and at the end of the day, they don't win. I could seriously see his job being in jeopardy.
Yeah, if you don't get to the World Series, that just feels like a foregone conclusion. We're talking to Harold Reynolds, MLB Network analyst and former Gold Glove second baseman, which leads me to Jose Altuve. You played the position. Seems really simple. Get a ground ball and throw it to first base. Why?
Yeah, fortunately, I never went through the yips. I thought looking at the video yesterday that he might have been injured. The more I watched it later as the night went on, I think he just has a little bit of the yips. And I watched Steve Sachs go through it, Chuck Knobloch. I never did. But Dan, I tell you one thing I learned. You'll like this a lot. It's like Michael Jordan in a sense. You know, when Michael shot those free throws with his eyes closed, it's so much muscle memory. And I was in spring training with the Orioles, and Ozzie Smith, we shared a complex with the Cardinals. And I got there early one day, and I'm watching Ozzie take ground balls. And I've known Ozzie since I was 13 years old, but I never had seen this. He's taking grounders, and he's throwing no-look throws across the diamond, pow, hitting the first baseman. No look, pow. It's just muscle memory. So I remember talking to him after that, and after that time, I started doing that with double plays, just about 10 throws a day, just because it's just muscle memory. So if I ever got to a point where I was like, you sit there and you go back. If I can throw it without looking, I know I can throw it when I look. So I remember when Chuck Knobloch was going through that, and I got to Yankee Stadium early, and I'm down on the field, and I'm like, Chuck, just no-look throws. You can do it, no look. He never grabbed hold of it. But that's what I would tell Jose Altuve. Go out on the field, take some grounders, and just throw the ball at first without looking. If you can do it without looking, you can do it when you're looking at the guy.
In 1983, Steve Sachs playing for the Dodgers. He had 24 errors throwing to first base at the All-Star break.
And it wasn't like Altuve's at least short hopping the first baseman. Sachs was like, if you need a souvenir, go 15 rows above first base and you're going to get it. He had it bad.
Yeah.
So I think Jose can play through this.
I don't know. Can you
they
imagine
may not be playing much longer.
Harold, if there were fans and Altuve was doing this?
It'd be even worse.
I mean, it'd be crazy.
It's all mental. We all know that. It is really just mental. And you can go down that rabbit hole. And I'm telling you, I've had a couple times where that first baseman looks, you look up and he's the only guy standing there. Now imagine there's no stands. You have no reference with fans behind you for depth perception. And you're seeing just that one guy stand there. And it's like, that's what he's going through.
Well, the last thing that you guys want to do is think. Like you want to, you think prior to the moment, and then when you're in the moment, you don't want to think. And Altuve gets to the moment, and then he's thinking like, now how do I throw this ball over there? And
here's the one suggestion I did make last night for the Astros. There's no need for Jose Altuve to play deep right field. He's standing out there shaking hands with the right fielder.
Yeah.
Move him to the dirt so he's not thinking. You're so far out there. Now the ball's coming to you. You know you have to put something on it. And you're thinking about all those things as the ball's coming to you. And he needs to move back onto the dirt. He has enough range to cover that side of the field like we did for 200 years. He doesn't have to be in deep right. Let him catch a ball and get rid of it. But he can't do that from where he's standing. He's got to gather himself and actually make a throw instead of just flipping the ball over to the base. So maybe they'll move him onto the dirt a little bit more.
I don't know if you heard this question after the Braves went over the Dodgers, that Mark Melanson, the Braves reliever, had this question given to him.
I mean, can you take a positive out of it even though you blew most of that lead? You're still up 2-0. Huh?
I don't really understand your question.
Can you still take something positive out of this? You're still up 2-0 in the series despite, blowing a big lead. Can you leave this thing feeling, good that you survived this game?
I think that's a terrible question. I'm not even going to answer it.
Yeah, you barely hung on.
I know they won the game, though. That's what you ask a bullpen or reliever when you lost the game.
Yeah, exactly. I did think one mistake the Braves made. They're up 8-3, and Mookie Betts is on first. You got one out, and Seager's coming to the plate. And they got Freddie Freeman holding him. It's the bottom of the ninth. If Mookie wants to steal second, let him go.
Yeah. You
bring your first baseman, you turn him around, and you back up. And so they don't. He's holding him, and a ball's hit by him, and that was the double that Seager hit. I thought they should have been playing back. At that time, you're playing outs. That opened up the floodgates for the rest of that inning.
Good to talk to you, HR. Hope you're doing well. Tell the boys MLB tonight we said hello.
All right. Now, I'll be checking you out. You got to work on that no eyes closed, no look free throws. You got it.
Oh, I can do that.
I see your throw. I'm talking about the free throws.
Yeah, I can still turn two.
I know you can.
From shortstop, not second. From shortstop. I didn't like playing second because that guy, you had to make that quick turn, because he was barreling down. At shortstop, I at least saw you.
They can't touch you now, though. They changed the rule. You can do all that now.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Soft. I live in the 70s. Thank you, HR.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
Harold Reynolds, MLB Network analyst. You can see him on MLB Network's MLB Tonight, and that's airing live before and after every League Championship Series and World Series game.